going on, guys? It's Scott here, and today I'm coming at you with another video. This will be the video after my pet hatching giveaway. So just a quick thing about that: the winners will be announced in about a week or so. So I want to give everyone a fair chance to go and comment and like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. That's how you enter. If you guys haven't seen that video, link will be in the outro of this video, and I'll put it in the description as well, just in case you want to check it out. But anyways, guys, getting into what this video is about, I decided that I will be doing an updated level 76 balance PvP gear and deck setup. And you might be wondering, why do I say updated? Well, basically back in like 2014 to 2015, I did 76 balance on my current 110 balance. So I used to do 76 balance PvP a long time ago on him, and you'll see his record now on the screen. It was actually a really good record, and he did really well back in the day before Darkmoor. Obviously nowadays it's pretty difficult to get that rank, but before Darkmoor you could definitely do it. And it's actually funny enough how I met Jay, which I may make a video on some other time, which I think that'd be quite fun to make. So anyways, yeah, I decided I would be doing an updated one because it's a little out of date. I think I made a video on my deck setup back in 2015 when I just started to level him. So yeah, I just started leveling him because of Darkmoor, and it made 76 PvP impossible. But we're gonna get into this setup here, and so here are like the character screen or whatever. So these are the eventual stats that you'll be looking at. Obviously it depends on your pet, etc, etc, but these are the general stats that I think you'll get at this level. Healing in and out, get into that why it's so low. Power pips is pretty shit too, but you can obviously get that up now with the duel. My rank at the moment's not great. I was at 1,900, but I've actually just after I've come back, I have been a bit rusty, I have to say. But you will win quite a few matches, or most matches, with the setup if you know how to play it right. And to be honest, it's not that difficult, because balance, as we all know, is fairly easy school to play. But yeah, so those are the stats, and let's get into the gear first. So the obvious choice of hat for me is the Silver Tongue Cow, purely because more often than not you're gonna face an elemental school more than a spirit school. Obviously you have balance in the middle, and like your balance resist isn't great, but you just got to make sacrifices somewhere. Obviously I do actually have the spirit hood as well, just in case. You just never know, maybe you know who you're fighting, maybe it's useful in tournaments and stuff, so that's a good hat to have. I have another silver, I actually have 3 Silver Tongue Cows. Wow, look at that. I got that just for fun. You guys have probably seen in my balance 1v1 tourneys, I'll pull that out. Oh wow, okay, wow, voice crack, whoa. Let's move on. I'll pull that out in a tourney just to troll people and go immune. It's quite fun. I've never used this hat, but I mean it looks okay, apart from the resist is pretty shit. Damage isn't great either, so that's why I don't use that. Can use for the judgment if you want, that's a pretty standard. Still, waterworks is still good at this level, so can use full waterworks if you want at this level, guys. I'm gonna feed this to my pet. Yep. There we go. I didn't want that. So Weird Walker coat for me is the #1 choice as a robe at this level. It's got quite a bit on the Cape of Judgment, so it's got health. You lose power pips and incoming, but you gain accuracy, you gain crit, and you also gain block to the key schools. Now the robe would be better if it didn't give 71 ice block. I really don't know why it does that. It should be 71 storm block and 41 ice block in my opinion, but that's just how it is. But in my opinion, that block to those schools is more useful than 13 universal blocks. So you can still use Cape of Judgment, guys, don't get me wrong. It gives you more power pips and stuff like that, so it is still a good robe. I have used it a couple times, but overall, again, that's just for trolling. That's just a different stitch, and that's for stitching. So we got, and then yeah, the boots. These are the go-to boots, guys. You need these boots at 76 because you are going to be facing, well, now that crit's not as broken, it's not that big a deal, but the block on these is vital in my opinion. Let me see if I have the, do I have the waterworks boots here? I'm not, I haven't skipped over them, have I? I mean, you got the Glendemming option as well, which are, they give way more resist, bit less damage, power pips, accuracy. So that's a fair like fill in, I guess. But you know, you lose health and you lose block. So for me, the armor boots of Adeline are my go-to boots, and this whole stitch that I'm wearing is all crafted, by the way, guys. This is all crafted. I think you get the recipes from Dundara and then somewhere else in Avalon. Just look up the gear pieces, it will tell you on the wiki. Staff of Flashing Blades has to be the wand for me. The accuracy and the power pip chance are key, otherwise your power pip chance would be shit. It would literally be like 61%, so that is very key to this setup. You have that. I think I may have used that when crit was at its most broken, especially at this level, but it's not anymore. Life Force Blade is probably what I'd go for at the start. If you guys can't get a Crowns one, then anything with like the Quagga Blade, that's good, or just something with decent crit and block. But the Quagga Blade is something I would recommend. I think you get that in questing in Savaria, so you will have that. So obvious, Athame is a duelist fatal razor. This will take about 3,000, 3,500 tickets to get. So you guys just got to do tourneys to get these, and now that tourneys are gold, there's no real excuse to not have it. But obviously when you're just starting out, Oliphant's Storage Scimitar for me is the best choice. I think you see quite a lot of the something Dirk thing, but they're so similar that this one's just the one that I go for. So yeah, it's really up to you, I guess. So I personally, on my old 76 setup video, I actually used a life mastery and trained life, but the problem with that is that whenever I'd come across heal spammers or someone with a really high heal boost at this level, I would often lose because I was not able to doom and gloom as effectively as I can with a death mastery. And the thing with death mastery is you can still heal with sacrifice, and it's just the doom and gloom is the main reason why I use that. Myth mastery is also a cool thing, cool strat to use. That's helpful when you start facing higher levels with Shrike, so that you can double stun them and they may not be expecting it. So Myth mastery is always an option, and then of course Life mastery. If you want to see my setup for a Life mastery, I will link my other 76 balance video in the description. So that one's for a Life mastery. This one's more orientated to death and myth. We got the Duelist Daredevil ring here. Just make sure that you socket Pierce in both of these guys. Pierce is obviously the most useful for the circle socket. Before you get this, Golden Ring of Battle, standard stuff. I think you can get that in the bazaar, so easy to get. Just make sure you have a decent ring to start with. George is my go-to pet. I do believe that this was not actually made by me, it was made by a Titan Clan member named George, hence the pet name, so shout out to him. We got Haley here, that's just a fire set pet. It's a pet that I'm currently training, I think. I can't really, I'll probably train it if there's like a double member for pets. Riley is another pet that I use sometimes to try and make up for my terrible balance resist. As you can see, I've socketed balance proof in there. And then Shadow is a pet I used when I attempted to be crit broken back in the day, when the crit broken stuff applied to this level. Deck, just use the astrological deck, in my opinion. That is the best deck at this level. I'm sure that, I mean, you got this one, but the problem is you get less balance copies and less max copies, less sideboard, but you can socket a triangle slot, so you get more power pip chance. But for me, I prefer, I'm so used to having 32 in sideboard, I'm not really sure what to take out. But here is the deck, guys. So here's a, just a skim over it a bit. I will probably explain everything, why I have so many or so little stuff. My TC deck made, now it is, boom. So yeah, as you can see, this deck is changes, because I mean, if I'm using a Death Mastery, I'm unlikely to keep that shift in there. If I'm using a Myth Mastery, I will not keep a Sacrifice in there. So it has changed a lot from from rank. So my initial deck would have been different to this one. This is more suited to the higher ranks, but I'm sure it will work at the lower ranks as well. However, I would put a lot more Doom and Glooms in the lower ranks and probably take out the Dispels, is all I do. So I'll take out all the Dispels, add 4 extra Dooms, and you'll be set. So we've got 3 stun blocks here, standard for any deck. Max Tower Shields, again, that's pretty standard for any deck. 3 Volcanic Shields and 3 Dream Shields. So I like to shield guys, especially because, you know, shadow spells do so much damage. You need these -70 shields to stay alive, especially to these schools because you have less resist to them. Max Colossals, 1 Doom and Gloom, because it's usually me who has to heal nowadays and not the opponent. However, if it is the other way around, this does come in handy. 3 Infections, like I just said, would be more, but it's usually me who heals and they're not too focused on healing most of the time. We got 3 Availings here. I'm not sure, I probably could put 1 more in, but once again, like I said, I do change pets quite often from this one to this one, and I get 3 extra here, or I use the 3 minion cards, so, you know, it just depends on what I'm using. What have we got here? We got 2 elemental diffusers. Really comes in handy because, to be honest, a lot of people, as soon as they get 5 pips and a shadow pip, they will use their shadow spell, and for 5 pips you can get rid of that. You can also stop them from tower shielding. It's just a nice thing to have, just in case there is no other option for you and you're going to get hit really hard. Try and predict it with this, or you can use it as a delay tactic from second, but I don't really recommend that because it is a lot of pips. So we've got, I don't think this is max Lawmaster, no, it's 6. We've got 6 Lawmasters, so this is going to be one of your main points of attack, guys. Obviously, if you're balanced and you don't have Lawmaster, this strategy can still work. Basically, what I would do is I'd take out the Lawmasters, put in Scorpions or Spectral, and then make sure I have a lot more Dooms in, because you want to spam them under Doom. Scorpion spam is not as effective as it used to be. I'm not sure about Spectral. Maybe if you have Savage Paw as well, I'd replace it with them. I don't think I have Savage Paw on this guy. I do not. But you can also spam Mana Burn. That's quite effective. I mean, it is 5 pips, but at the end of the day, Mana Burn does decent damage and it does keep their pips down. However, you got to realize that if you do spam it, either the opponent will realize this and try to keep his pips low, or if you are a balance, your opponent will automatically think that you're going to spam Mana Burn, or, you know, you have Mana Burn, so they will try and keep their pips low. But it is still a useful spell. Power play, 1 power play, you know, just in case I need to change the bubble for any reason whatsoever, and that's to not a Doom and Gloom. Then power play has come in handy sometimes. 3 reshuffles, guys. You won't live that long at the higher ranks. You'll either die, it's kill or be killed. Your matches will not last long unless you get a Jade or something like that, but I have not got many of those. 2 Scorpions, these are finishers or minion killers, really. Pretty much the only use for them, or just to get off weaknesses and shields if I can't find a wand. 2 Spirit Diffusers, same use for the elemental diffusers as I explained earlier. We've got 4 Spirit Shields and 4 Elemental Shields, so like I said, I like to keep myself well shielded during the battle, because I have such low resist and low health compared to my opponent usually. 4 Balancer Spells, they do come in handy if you're trying to catch someone out with a reshuffle or you're facing a balance. Balancer Spells are really useful, I have to say. And 2 weaknesses just to stack on with the lore weaknesses that I use, and sometimes if I'm using this pet, then the minion will use a weakness as well, so we can stack weaknesses together. Moving on to the side deck. So the side deck is, you know, just pretty standard side deck, I think. Usually you'll see a stun in there, you'll see tower shields, triage, your auras, and then most balances will have these hits in them. Supernova, I sometimes will switch out either the 2 weaknesses or something else in this deck, maybe a reshuffle and a weakness for 2 Supernovas in the deck, just so I can have it all the time if I need to reshuffle and not just rely on only 3. And I would actually recommend enchanting 1 with accuracy and 2 for damage, because at this level you don't have a 100% chance to power the Supernova with its 60%. So I would recommend doing that, but I'm just very lazy. I also haven't really PvP'd on this account for a long time. So we've got, did I go over? Yeah, we got the Triage Shift. Like I said, that kind of depends on whether I'm using a Myth Mastery or not. Fortify, very useful. I only started putting this in recently when I got to the high ranks. Beforehand, I didn't see a need for it. So I'd probably take out both, put in an extra Infallible, and then I would probably put in oh my god, my voice again. Wow. You'd think when you're 18 your voice would stop cracking, but nah. What else would I put in? I'll probably put in another triage, to be honest. Unless I'm using the Myth Mastery, and then I'll put in a Medusa or something cool like that, maybe an Earthquake, Shatter. So there's loads of options here. I'd actually probably put in a Doom. So I'll take out the 2 Fortifies, and then probably the Myth Mastery. If I'm using a Death Mastery, put in some Doom and Glooms and a TC. So I want to have like 8 Dooms in my deck, at least, at the lower levels. Sorry, the lower ranks. 4 Availings, these just stay there all the time. I always have 4 in my side deck. It comes in handy a lot, so I would recommend 4. I understand if some of you guys do not have this card, it is very rare to get, and luckily for me, Nikki has a lot of rare TCs, so she gifted me quite a few of these. They are very useful for getting me out of a tricky spot, I have to say, but again, if you don't have this, just replace it with a Lore Master or something like that. So, or a Franklin Stove, if you guys have that. I used to have it, I don't have it anymore. I'll put the picture on the screen if you don't know what it is, but it's pretty useful. Or a Mantle, so you got tons of options. 1 Judgment Finisher, like I said, same with Scorpion. It's just, it does a bit more damage usually, so I'll go for Judge over a Scorpion if I can. Lore Master, 6 of these. Standard in a balanced deck. You gotta have a lot of Lore Master, guys. It's just so good. You know, it's too good to not use. You'd be putting yourself at a disadvantage, so why would you do that if you didn't use it? Let's be honest here. 3 Scorpions and then 3 Supernova. So yeah, this is pretty much the deck that I use. I wouldn't recommend copying it exactly. Obviously fit it to your playstyle. Mine's quite spammy, aka I like to debuff, I like to shield, I like to get my minion up so that they have something to be distracted with, because if you don't distract the opponent and it's a level 110, 120 storm, you're gonna die pretty quick. So make sure that you have something to distract them with and just try and control the duel as much as possible. So yeah, that's pretty much been it, guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Once again, here are the overall stats: 88 damage, 52 resist to fire, storm, 43 to ice, 32 to the rest. This will be like 42 or like 46, sorry, 47 if you have a ward. 29 accuracy, so that's some pretty nice accuracy. I think that's because of, yeah, so I decided to socket accuracy instead of power pips in this, which I kind of regret. I will probably change that to power pips, honestly, but then you can get 8 accuracy, but you can only get 5 more power pips, so the maximum amount of power pips I'd have would be 81. Yeah, so what's the critical is 270, 42%, so you crit a pretty decent amount. Block is alright. I do block a fair amount, especially to ice, fire, not so much storm. And then these armor piercing is 16, so you know, when you've got that TC invaluable on, that's 36 pierce. That's a pretty good amount of pierce. And the healing is pretty shit, but if you crit it, it does not matter usually. 0 stun resist, blah 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 blah. So yeah, that's been the updated 76 balance PvP deck and gear setup, guys. It has worked really well for me. As I said, I've had 2 76 balances with a 1900 rank or over at some point in their time, and that's not for me to brag about, that's just to try and prove to you guys that this will work. I hope for you guys it works for me, it has worked for me over many years, so I hope it works for you. Once again, so this is more of a Death Mastery and Myth Mastery setup. If you want to see a Life Mastery setup, link will be in the description. It's a bit old, but it will probably still work. And yeah, that's been the video, guys. I hope you've enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. One thing to take away from this video, if you can: oranges are people too.